This recording was found on a device that should not have been inside the house. The house had already been empty for several months when the device was discovered. There was no electricity, no running water, and no indication that anyone had been living there recently. According to the report, the building had been checked before and nothing unusual had been found at that time. What made this discovery different was the presence of a small recording device sitting on the kitchen counter. It was not connected to anything. It was not hidden. It was simply there, powered off, as if someone had placed it deliberately and left. Investigators later confirmed that there were no signs of forced entry anywhere in the house. The doors were locked. The windows were intact. There were no broken locks, no damaged frames, and no footprints leading in or out of the property. Nothing was reported missing. Nothing appeared disturbed. The device itself was functional. When powered on, it contained a single audio file. The file had no name, no date, and no identifying information. The recording lasted a little over 6 minutes. For most of the recording, nothing unusual seems to happen. In fact, the first few minutes sound almost ordinary. That is one of the reasons the audio was initially dismissed. What caused concern later was how suddenly the tone of the recording changes near the end. The following is a transcript of the audio file, presented exactly as it was recorded. I think the recorder is still on. I didn't mean to leave it running. I was only planning to check a few things before leaving the house. It shouldn't take very long, and then I'll turn it off. There's no one else here, so this is probably unnecessary. I'm inside the house now. It's quieter than I expected it to be. There's no electricity, so the only sounds I can hear are my own movements. The floorboards creak when I walk, but other than that, everything feels completely still. I don't remember the place feeling this quiet before. Even empty houses usually have some kind of background noise. Pipes, wind, something. Here it feels like the sound just stops once I stop moving. I thought I heard something near the hallway just now. It sounded like footsteps, but I can't be sure. I didn't hear the door open, and I don't see anyone else here with me. It was probably just the house settling. Old buildings do that sometimes. I'm standing in the kitchen at the moment. I can hear my own breathing, and it sounds louder than it should. That usually happens when a place is too quiet, or when you're more nervous than you realize. I don't remember feeling nervous when I came in. There's a sound behind me now. It's slow, and it doesn't match my movements. When I stop walking, the sound continues. It almost sounds like someone trying very carefully not to make noise. I stopped moving completely. I wanted to see if the sound would stop as well. It didn't. Whatever it is, it's still there. It feels closer than it was before. I don't hear breathing anymore. That's what makes this worse. If it were someone else in the house, I would hear something. Movement, weight shifting, anything. But there's nothing like that now. It's not behind me anymore. I can hear it somewhere else now. It's standing where I was a second ago. I don't understand how that's possible. That sentence is the last clearly audible line on the recording. After that, there is a brief sound that investigators were never able to identify. Some describe it as interference. Others describe it as movement. The sound lasts less than 2 seconds. The recording then ends abruptly. When the device was recovered, it was found powered off. No one ever reported being inside the house at that time. No nearby residents reported seeing anyone enter or leave the property. This was not the only recording recovered from abandoned properties in the area. According to internal reports, several similar devices were found over the following months. Most of the recordings were never made public. This one was released only because no explanation could be found. What makes this recording unusual is not only what can be heard on it, but the circumstances surrounding its discovery. According to the internal report, The device was found during a routine inspection of the property. The house had already been marked as vacant, and no recent activity had been recorded in the area. Neighbors confirmed that they had not seen anyone entering or leaving the building for several months. The recording device itself showed no signs of damage. It was not hidden, and it did not appear to have been placed in a hurry. There were no fingerprints recovered from its surface. Investigators noted that this was unusual but not impossible, given the amount of time the device may have been exposed to dust and environmental factors. What raised more questions was the lack of contextual information. There was no indication of who owned the device, where it came from, or how long it had been inside the house. No serial number was registered. No similar devices were reported missing in the area. The audio file contained on the device did not include a timestamp or metadata that could be used to determine when it was recorded. Digital analysis confirmed that the file had not been edited or altered. The recording appeared to be continuous with no cuts or interruptions until the final abrupt ending. Investigators attempted to recreate the conditions under which the recording may have been made. Multiple tests were conducted inside the house, including walking through the same areas mentioned in the audio. None of these tests produced sounds that matched those heard in the final portion of the recording. The unexplained sound at the end of the file remains a point of disagreement. Some analysts described it as environmental interference. Others noted that it did not match any known mechanical or structural noise within the building. The sound was too brief to isolate clearly, and no definitive conclusion was reached. The case was eventually archived without resolution. No missing person report was ever connected to the address. No further evidence was recovered from the property. The house was later sealed and scheduled for demolition, though that process was delayed for unrelated reasons. This recording was made public years later as part of a larger data release involving abandoned properties. Most of the associated files were heavily redacted. This particular recording was included in full because it could not be linked to any identifiable individual or active investigation. No official explanation has ever been provided